Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits. It's been a couple of weeks and I'm glad to be back. This is PJ Knits. My name is Penny and I live in Central Illinois, and I can be found on Instagram as PJ Knits. We have a Ravelry group that's called PJ Knits, and my actual name on Ravelry is Penny J. And I also do a blog at www.pjknits.blogspot.com. And I'm coming to you from Central Illinois on the last day of May. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it's the end of May already. We in Central Illinois, as I normally do at the beginning of the podcast, I give you the weather report, and it has been rainy about every day or every other day, and then cloudy. And today, the last day in May 2019, we're getting sunshine. So look out, protect those eyes, because I know it's a new sight to some of you. We just cannot believe it. The water keeps rising and people keep having issues. And I know there are other places that have a lot worse issues than ours, but I just cannot imagine what that's like for them. But around here, the sun is a great thing, and you can tell when I go into work how spirits will just be uplifted by the sunshine. So anyway, let's get into today's episode. I have a couple of things to show you that are off the needles and I want to report on. They're small projects, but projects that I'm working on for my 40 Cowls project that has to be done by this December. And I completed and got blocked last week my Liberty Wool cowl, just a simple cowl that I'm knitting. And I was limited on the amount of skeins I have on this. So this was like 1 3/4, I want to say. And then I have another one that I've started as a project, and I have 3 skeins of it. So what I've done is I've made, the next one's going to be a little bit longer, maybe twice the length of this, for those who want to double up, but still I think it's going to make a nice cowl for somebody who might not want one. And Liberty Wool, as most of you will know, that Classic Elite has gone out of business, but this washes up so nice. And I have a sweater quantity of this as well. And as with the other one that I'm going to show you, I am using these cowls also as a swatch project for my fall sweater project that I'm going to be doing, a couple of sweaters. So already I have my swatch done for a sweater come this fall. And then the second one is from 4th of July. This is called 4th of July. It's by Briar Rose Fibers. And this is really the one that made me decide that I was going to use it as a bigger swatch, because I have another colorway in the 4th of July from Chris. And I wanted to knit an EPS sweater for this next fall to wear. And I thought, this is perfect. I will just redo the Pearl Ridge cowl that I've been making for a lot of people and put a lot of stockinette in it and then some garter so that I would know what all of my gauges are for that as well. And so I have 2 gauge swatches done. So that's all I have in finished objects. But while we're on the subject of the 40 Cowls, thank you, Bindu and Annette. They cranked me some of my socks, and so I have a snake. And these are going to be, I'm going to pull these apart, and these are going to be some cowls as well for the 40 project. And I'm going to treat the ends differently. I'm going to put maybe a rib on one. Maybe I'll just sew some of them up. But you know, I love this, and I haven't done anything with it yet because two things. I wanted to show it on the podcast, but the other thing is it's just so dang cute that I hate to I hate to use it up, but I'm going to. But isn't that so cool? And it just looks so neat sitting there, and it just brings me a lot of joy. So thank you, Bindu and Annette. I do appreciate you cranking these out for me. It gives me thoughts sometimes about wanting a sock machine. Oh, but man, that's another time. So anyway, I'll have what? 1, 2, 3, 4 at least cowls, and this got 4 skeins out of my stash of sock yarn. So I thought that was super cool, and I'm excited about that. So those are what I have in finished objects today. Now, I'm not sure what I'm gonna title the episode, but it's gonna have something to do with bags, okay? But well, let's start with our regular segment called Books and Bags, and this is in keeping with the theme of today's podcast. This is all about bags coming up. And I went into my library to see if I had anything that would go with the theme, and I came up with Bag Style book, and I know that I've had this for quite some time. It was an Interweave production, and it's by Pam Allen and Ann Budd, and they're all knitted bags. And I thought, what an appropriate book to share with you today. And there's some felted bags in here. There's some knitted bags. And this one kind of caught my eye because I have been seeing on social media a bag, and I want to say it's from Namaste, but maybe it's Kate Spade. But this so reminds me of that bag that is out there. And there was some, and it's called, that one's called the Lace Doily Purse. And there's some other cute ones that they have in here. A little evening bag, and interesting, the hair. Maybe that's a wedding hair I could do. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you. There is a surface woven tote that has leather handles on it. And I just thought this was so interesting, even though the book has been in my library for quite some time. There's a yoga mat bag in here, which reminds me of a podcast that Christy Glass did recently with a crocheter. And his name was Vincent, crocheted some unbelievable color work bags. And so that kind of brought to mind. So it's interesting that a book, this one was 2007 publication date, and still some of the things that are in it could still be very well knitted today. And here's another one, a carpet bag by Veronique Avery. So I wanted to just share this book with you today in Books and Bags. I thought it was so interesting and so very appropriate. Bag Style by Pam Allen and Ann Budd. And while we're on the subject of patterns, my friend Susan Rainey, a year or so ago, I want to say, put out a pattern. It's called Plaid Squared, and it's an entrelac felted bag, and there's 3 versions. And I think this is going to be a super cool bag to do maybe towards the fall or the winter. As it will become evident here shortly, I am booked up on my knitting through the summer. But this is a super cool pattern called Plaid Squared by her, and has the buffalo type check pattern that she's done. And then this is felted. And I just think this is so cool. So just wanted to bring your attention to Plaid Square, a book that pattern that Susan Rainey has out, if you're so inclined. So now for the bag portion, and my alluding to how I was going to name this episode. And I'm sure that other knitters are like this, but I am a knitter. You can tell I'm a knitter. I am a collector. I have a huge stash. I have a lot of projects on the needles. I have a lot of projects in my head that I desperately want to knit everything. I want to have all of my days free to knit. And so I am a knitter, and I have bags in all kinds of varieties. I'm always searching for the perfect bag. And so I will not be judged, and I will not apologize for this. I love my bags. And so I had a couple of thoughts when you try to justify in your mind a new bag, which is what I'm doing. And I just said I wouldn't be judged about it, but you still try and justify your bag or your addiction to what you have. And so um, my justification comes with a couple of things. When my mom passed away, my brother and sister-in-law and aunt went through the house, and then I went through the second time. And we found that she had a lot of candles, which we didn't quite understand, or I didn't understand, because she had a very sensitive nose. And so the slightest smell of perfume or something in church, or me, I walk into a room and she'd immediately say, "You got your perfume on." And so she had this sensitive sense of smell, but she had all these candles and couldn't figure out why she had all these candles with that sensitive. And I don't know if they were for gifts or if she wanted to take another smell out of the house or whatever. But so I think I come by it naturally. She collected candles, and I collect knitting things, and lately bags, because when there's a cool bag that comes out, I just want it. So it kind of reminds me of a song that that I am not a singer. The kids tell me to not sing, but you'll get the gist of this just from a little line. I think there could be a new song, and it would be, "I've got bags, they're multiplying." And you know, if you have watched Grease, there's a song there. So anyway, I'm not going to quit my day job for singing or for songwriting. Anyway, I'm going to call this market research. I think that my bag collection is helpful to you, our viewers. And I'm doing market research, and I'm auditioning bags for you so that you will know the perfect bag to go out and buy, right? Did I sell it at all? So let's just talk about the bags I have. I'm going to start off with one that I've had for quite some time, and this is called the Walker bag. They make various styles of this, but this has kind of been one that our knitting shop that closed down several years ago had, and I bought, not one, but I bought two of these, and one of them carries some things to potlucks when I go, and this one I have been taking to, for example, I would take it to Stitches Midwest, because it has a zip top, and I can put my purchases in there. I could also put a small knitting project in there so that I can have something to sit and knit while I want to. Plus it has pockets on the inside of the bag itself, and I could put my wallet and my phone in there, and my keys or anything else I need that I didn't want to lose. And on the outside I could put lipstick and pens and pencils or what have you. And it's a great bag for carrying around for shows, and lightweight before you get the stuff in. But as everybody knows, if you put a lot in a bag and you have something on your shoulder, after a while, for me at least, it starts to hurt. So I would go back and unload it. But I still like my Walker bag for those kinds of things, for those shows at times. And then more recently, a bag that came to light was this one. It's called the Knitter's Backpack. Just received it, and I have not used it. And I have not normally been a backpack type person, but this one was sold in a couple of ways, and I bought this from Starlight out west. But what we decided is it is a backpack, and I think that this would be, I'm gonna audition it out and try it for Stitches Midwest this year, most definitely, and next year for Maryland Sheep and Wool, because it goes on as a backpack, and I think it will alleviate some of the shoulder problems or issues that I may have. Now, the nice thing about it as well is that you can carry it just as a tote if that's what you want to do as well. Give you a good idea of this. As a tote, it has a nice bottom, a nice bucket bottom, so that if you want to just take it to your knitting group, you can sit it on the ground and the floor, and it will stay up, which is nice. It's out of a very nice canvas and has a nice web handle. And so I really am liking this one, especially for those events. Now, two things. There are no snaps on the inside, so it is totally open. There are no pockets on the inside. And I don't have a super problem with that because when I go to Stitches Midwest, I generally have my phone and my credit card in my pockets or in my front pocket so that I can get to them easily. And if I have anything else that I want to put in the inside, then I have little zipper pouches that my friend Norma made me years ago that can carry the other essentials in it so they're not swimming around in it all over. So this, and it comes in several colors. This is by Ritual Dyes, is the manufacturer of this one. And again, I got this from Starlight. I ordered it out from their website because it was the most reasonable that I could find in stock in the United States. So this is the Knitter's Backpack. And I like it. I like it, and I will use it, like I said, for the big events. The next thing that I've had for some time is from Bookhu. I think that's how you pronounce it. It is Bookhu. I bought this one over a year ago. I bought this one from Espace Tricot, and the thing I loved about it was that it had a kind of a knitter's printing on it. This one, again, does not have any pockets in it, but I like because it sits up as well and has the leather handles. And so this one's nice for just heading out for a quick project in it. And it has leather ties that you can easily tie up. And this is from Bookhu, Bookhu. And also manufactured by her and printed, screen printed by her. And again, I bought this from Espace Tricot. Then, next up is my collection. I have two Fringe Supply bags. I've talked about them before. This one I love. Both of these have purposes. This one I love to take to work because when I go out onto the picnic table, I can throw it on the picnic table or on the ground and I'm not super worried about it. This one I bought from Fringe Supply, and again, a nice sturdy canvas, sits up with the project. This one I like too because it does have some pockets on the inside. It also has, which you can't see, there you go, some grommets that you could put your yarn through if you wanted to. I don't really use those, but nice pockets to put things in. When I'm heading out to the picnic table at lunch, I can drop my phone into one of these pockets. It has a place for pens or extra needles in it as well there. Again, and a nice sturdy one. Has a leather handle. Has the rope ties so you don't have to worry about your project falling out if that's an issue. So that's my first Fringe Supply. I had told you before on the podcast, this one is another one from Fringe Supply. And I've heard some people like it, a lot of people love it, and I love this one. Again, this one is a dual purpose. This has my projects for when I go down to our local yarn shop, because occasionally when I go down there, I like to knit on something that is from their yarn, and I really do like the way this one totes around. Again, Fringe Supply has sturdy canvas on their bags. This one has the webbing, and it has the ties, which I've not pulled tight yet. Has pockets inside that the outside's black, the inside of the pocket is the lighter ivory color, has pockets on both sides. There's no grommets on this one. One side it's a long pocket, and the other side it's divided pockets, and it has slits for like needles or crochet hooks or pens. And what I do like about this, it has pockets on the outside, small ones. Again, my phone and my name badge goes in it if I want to take it outside at lunchtime or head down to the shop, then they're easily found. And then a longer one here that has a little note that I put my notions bag in that I have. So that one is, I think this one's the Town Bag, and that one's from French Supply as well. And I do like this one. I like it's serving its purpose, and it's a nice grab and go, again, for work, because I like to be able to go out and knit at lunchtime. And then one of the last ones that I just got, and I couldn't resist. I resisted for a couple of days, a couple of updates, and a couple of times people saying that they were in the Knot House event they had earlier in the month. And I resisted, and then finally I saw on Instagram that she had like 2 left, and I'm like, I gotta have this, if nothing else, for the color itself, and because I liked it, and it was similar to my other one that I showed you. This is from Button Jar Studio. And I do like this one. I have not used it yet, but it does have a project in here for the summer, and the thing I like about it is she has put some pockets in it as well. There's the inside. Isn't that super cute? And there's the pockets that she's put. So I appreciate that. I think that'll be a nice one to take. It has leather handles. And I mean, guys, why wouldn't I buy it? Look at that color. Is that like me or not me? Anyway. That one's from Button Jar Studio. Nicely made bag, and in a little bit smaller than the other, but still has a different kind of shape. I do like both of those bags as well. And finally, if you have a friend that sews, one of your most favorite bags will be one that she creates for you, and I use this a lot. This fits the bill for me as well for going to functions, and I can put everything I need in it and more projects. So this will be my ZK bag that I'm going to take to ZK with me and to other events. The only place this one does not go, it does not go to my kids' house because they have a dog that sheds, and I'm not getting dog hair on it. None of my bags that I have shown you go to the kids' house when we visit because you know, I don't want to come home with dog hair on my bag, and I have a specific bag that I take just for that. So call me what you want. So anyway, I just had to share my market research with you, and this is a public service I'm doing just for you knitters and watchers of PJ Knits. You're welcome. So what's on the needles? Well, can I just say, knitting is not supposed to be stressful, and I'm not stressed because I'm not. But I have to tell you, I have some projects that need to be completed, and they have deadlines. So what's new? But anyway, I'm going to talk to you about them really quick. I am just last weekend committed to doing a test knit, and it's called the Modulancho. It is by Shana Cohen, and here it is. And I just have a few weeks to complete. And what happened was I wanted to desperately use a yarn in my stash. And I've been doing baby blankets, and I desperately wanted something to do with this yarn. And so then I went to my stash, and I thought, what can I do? Because I've been into wraps these days. I want to knit wraps, let's put it that way. And so I pulled some colors, and I want to use stash, right? There you go. And so I posted, and I desperately wanted to cast it on last weekend. Even though I have 2 baby Afghans and a shawl and a sweater and all that I want to have done before July, okay? But I desperately was in a cast-on wave. And so I put these colors out on Instagram, and I said, hey, I'm open to ideas. Shayna came back and said, hey, do you want to test this, knit my new pattern? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, it has to be done by the 17th. So this weekend is going to be some knitting on this, and it's going to be the Magellancho. And I have no doubt that I can get it done. I'm just saying, sometimes our knitting is, at least for me, yes, I'm overextended, but I do love it so much. But the yarns that I'm using is my variegated is La Jolla, I think. Gosh. And it is from Ba, and this one is called Island Sorbet. And then the other two, one is the orange and the blue is from Two Guys Yarn. And it is their MCN Sock Blue Curacao, which is a lovely drink, alcohol. And the other one is a tangerine something. I cannot remember what that one is. And then finally, the yellow that I'm using is from Leading Men Fiber Arts. Was slated for something else, but I decided to use it in this. And this one is Show Stealer, and it is Sunny Side Up. And so I'm really super excited to be working on this, to see where the colorways are going to go. This particular one, if you can see in the pattern itself, she's used, I think, 2 or 3 colors on it, and I'm using 4. And I think what's going to happen here is I'm going to color block the front of this. It depends on how much, because I have more orange than I have of any of the other ones. But if I could get the blue to go both ways, that'd be great. Or maybe I'll go 3/4. I haven't quite decided how that's going to be yet, but definitely the variegated on the sleeves. And that's what I'll be working on this weekend. I'm not sure. The thought is that we're going to color block it blue, yellow, and then orange on the solid sections, and then do the variegated in the other. But I wish that I had enough blue, because I would do like a solid blue in it. But I think we might do just a color blocking. So that's one of the things that is on my needles right now. The other couple of things, I have some baby Afghans that I want to have done. This one is from the Jelly Beans yarn. This is a Plymouth yarn. And again, this is one of those yarns that was in my stash, and I have a lot of this. So I must have intended on making a hospice blanket and maybe a couple of baby Afghans out of it, because I think I have enough to do that with it. And this is a 75% acrylic, 25% wool. I do not know if it's still being made, but I'll tell you what, in the knitting up of this baby Afghan on I think it's an 8 or a 9, I really like the feel of this. This is so scrumptious and soft, I think. And this is from the book that I showed last time. This is called The Sunny Baby Blanket. Yeah. So I have a few, I'm about 1/3 of the way. And so I know that this one has to be done mid-June as well. But I don't have a problem with that, because I think this one's good. I know it's going to knit up. And what I did is last weekend, at the start of the long weekend, I put a progress marker in there. And I told myself that all weekend long, little donut with sprinkles. I said all weekend long, that's all that I'm going to knit on. And that's what I did, other than the time I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my 4 yarns. So this was done mostly, excuse me, in a long weekend. And so I'm not really super worried about getting that one done. But that's on the needles, mid-June. And then this one, I do not know what the baby is going to be. So if the baby is a girl, this is a go. This is out of Kaleidoscope Yarns. This is, and that's all I know about it. It's the colorway is Nursery, and I bought this Euro, E-U-R-O yarns, put out by Knitting Fever, and this is Kaleidoscope, and the colorway is Nursery. It has more pink in it than anything, so I think it lends it towards a baby girl, but I think twofold. The baby that this is intended for If it happens to be not a girl, then this one will go to hospice. And if not, this will go to the baby girl, and I will knit something else. But for this particular baby, I would like to have it done by the end of June, but it's not necessary. This baby can have this baby gift when it's a month old if I have to knit something else. So anyway, this one's super scrumptious. This is on a huge, big needle, probably a 10 and a half. So it's going fast as well. And that's what's on my needles right now. Now, the nice thing about both of these Afghans baby blankets that I'm doing, both of them, I have 2 of these animals, and I took the yarn out of it to maybe make a possible third baby blanket or donate to hospice when it's done. And I'm going to use the animals. Both of them are the monkeys, and they're going to go in between the little arms of the monkey for both of the babies. That's how I'm going to present them to the new mothers when it happens. Okay, let's see, check the notes. That's really all I have in knitting itself. I just want to talk to you a little bit about a couple other things. One of the things I've been doing lately is staying up way too late, and I just wanted to share a couple of things that I've been watching on Netflix that people have advised me on, and they haven't went wrong. First one I've been watching for quite some time is Death in Paradise. It is on a tropical island, and it seems like every episode, every episode somebody's murdered. And it is the way they work through the murders. It's not gruesome, but it's so much fun. And even a lot of times you laugh at the bumblingness of the police force, but yet they always come out with the murderer, and they always have a meeting where they show, this is why you did it. And it is a super cute series to watch. And I have to make myself now during the week. All right, one day underneath my belt, as of last night, I have to make myself turn the TV off at 10 o'clock. Because if I don't, and I'm watching either one of these shows, it's like midnight. One more episode. So I highly recommend, if you want a lighthearted murder mystery, Death in Paradise on Netflix. The other one, I would not succumb to it. No matter, there's 2 of them that I have on my list that people have recommended from Netflix. And the first one, I'm just like, I don't know that I want to watch that. But one Tuesday or Wednesday this week, I was like, I don't want to watch Death in Paradise right now. I want to watch something else. Didn't really want to watch a podcast. And so I brought up Dead to Me. Oh my gosh. Don't wait, people. Watch it. There is language, yes, in this. I want to preface that. It's not something that you want to watch with gentle ears. But it is so cute. The very first episode, the very end of it, I'm like, OMG. I have got to see where they're going with this. So, highly recommend Dead to Me. Christina Applegate, fantastic. And I think it's because I wasn't always a fan of her prior shows, but this one, guys, watch it. You will love it. You will like it. Remember, gentle ears though. And then I just want to do a little shout out to a podcast that I've been watching that maybe that you already know about, but it is Chelsea Pearl's podcast. And I love Christina and Miriam watching them. I watched them again last night. They do about an episode every week from her, Christina's Yarn Shop out east. And I love the interaction. I love to see the things that they are knitting. And I love the yarns that she's been dyeing, and hope to, down the road, maybe get one. I just placed an order with something super cool that should be on its way this week, so I'll show that on the next podcast. So it's called Chelsea Pearl's podcast, and I'll link that. I am in the show notes The show notes later on, less than a week, will be up in the PJ Knits Ravelry group and also on my blog. I will put links there. That's where you'll be able to find the show notes. And so I think that's about it, other than to say we have 18 days, guys, till ZK. 18 days. And Debbie and I are looking forward to it. Wow, we're going to have so much fun. Cannot wait. We'll be in Rochester in 18 days. And hopefully I can get Debbie to sit and podcast with me again. I'll try to do some Instagrams from ZK. Well, I won't try. I will. And so we're looking forward to that. I will try very much so to do a podcast before we leave, because even though Memorial Day weekend is the start of the unofficial start of summer, summer really doesn't start until the 20th, 21st of June. And I have a thought going forward for the month, for the summer, actual summer, starting in June, going to September. We're going to, on the podcast and in the Ravelry group and in my knitting by then, we're going to have what I call the Summer of Shawls. And I'll talk about Summer of Shawls next podcast, but we'll talk about, for the summer, we're going to talk about shawl options, shawl knitting, shawl yarns, shawl books, shawls that I've knit, all kinds of shawl things. So that's coming up in the next podcast. We'll talk about that. And then we'll be readying for a ZK as well. So that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you for stopping by and watching. And I would so appreciate it if you would subscribe. And, if you would tell a friend if you liked it. Or just comment below that you've been watching and that this is something you want to hear about. Otherwise, I think YouTube will be, I'm going to continue it. It's going to be what I'm going to say is a video for my future relatives and grandchildren and etc. to watch and see their Grandma Penny on YouTube and what she was doing back in 2019. So anyway, I hope you all have a great next few days, next couple of weeks. I hope the sun is shining for you wherever you're at, but if not, you have your knitting, and we have YouTube, we have podcasts, we have Netflix, and we have friends who knit. So until next time, knit on with hope and confidence. Thanks. See you later. Bye.